Oh, hey, welcome back. Thanks for tuning into my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing, rating, and giving facts on Robocop, the 2014 reboot. So, the reboot for Robocop was literally supposed to reboot the entire franchise. They had 2 sequels already planned. And they weren't greenlit, but they were planned. And this movie just bombed. Like, it tested positive in focus groups, pre-screenings were fantastic, but with something like with the 1987 RoboCop, it was perfect the way it was. And something that's perfect, you don't fuck with it. You know what I mean? Like you can't change things because the way it was perfect. Just like that'd be like if they tried rebooting Jaws. Sure, they could basically make a better shark movie. I mean, like Shallows was good and 47 Meters Down were good shark movies, but Jaws had like, you know what I mean? But and it's the same thing with like Terminator. If you tried rebooting the original Terminator, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't work at all. You just don't mess with originals. And I'm not saying this movie is bad, but I mean, if RoboCop never existed in the 80s, then this movie would have been fantastic. But it would have been perfect actually. But it just didn't have the same magic and awe as, the first one, because the first one came out, it was like shit you never seen before. But anyways, this movie had a $100 million budget. And for 2014, $100 million for a movie, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. You should make a decent fucking movie. And they made a good movie. The CGI is great. The acting is fantastic. They have great actors. They have, besides Joel Kinnaman playing Alex Murphy and RoboCop, they got freaking Gary Oldman, Michael Keaton. Dude, they got like, those 2 actors alone should make people want to see the movie. I mean, their acting is fantastic. Their acting is fantastic and everything. But yeah, this movie, it just bombed its opening weekend, made $24 million. And with executives in certain companies, they has to make a lot more opening weekend for them to even think of a freaking sequel or greenlit one. Doesn't matter how much money it made, because it made double its money, double its budget, and then some. I think it made like $240 million worldwide. But still, they couldn't risk a sequel, I freaking guess. But anyways, we're going to get on with this ride. It's a very short ride because RoboCop's pretty much straightforward. So we're going to get on with this ride. I'm going to tell you some facts about it. And let's go. It's 2028, and the U.S. military consists of robots made by Omnicorp. Omnicorp CEO Raymond Sellers is trying to fight with Senate to get a bill repealed that will allow his robots in the United States. Knowing it may never happen, he has the idea of putting a man inside of a machine and hires the help of Dr. Dennett Norton. Okay, so here's where people already started having problems, especially people that watched the original, which ultimately led to its downfall and bad reviews. The big ass robots with the 2 guns for arms and shit. So in the original, there was another big robot, but there was like only 1 or 2, and they were called Ed 209s. And it was basically RoboCop's competition. Also, the story in the original had nothing to do with, there weren't tons of robots. Like the Ed 209, it was all police. That's what the whole thing was about. The whole thing took place in Detroit. And it was about how to fight the rising crime in Detroit. It had nothing to do with war or putting robots on the street. It literally was like, how can we help the police? And one person came up with Ed 209, and another person came up with Robocop. And then they went with Robocop. And then, yeah. So I'll get to that when I actually do the original Robocop. But still, that's one problem that people had, and it really pissed people off. I know it kind of pissed me off because you have all these big-ass dope robots, and supposed to be a huge threat or whatever, when like the 1 Ed 209 is a bigger threat than the original. But whatever. Let's get on with the movie. Meanwhile, DPD officer Alex Murphy is close to closing a case on Antoine Vallon, who ultimately has Alex Murphy assassinated. This makes him a perfect candidate for the OCP and their new program to put a human inside of a machine. Okay, some facts about the actor, or who they had ideas to play for Alex Murphy. They approached Michael Fassbender, Russell Crowe, and Chris Pine. But unfortunately, they had other scheduling conflictions with other movies. I think if Michael Fassbender or freaking Chris Pine would have been Robocop instead, or Alex Murphy, probably would have drawn an even bigger crowd. Probably would have done a lot better. Especially Michael Fassbender. That dude's freaking talented. And also, if you've ever seen the original, Robocop is pretty much all robot, besides his head. And the human hand for Murphy, people bitched about that, actually. They're like, oh, Robocop's supposed to be all robot. Yeah, well, yes, but in this movie, obviously, they want to do some things different. They always do with reboots, remakes, whatever. But this was actually a nod at the original. Because in the original, when they're talking about Alex Murphy's body and how to construct him and shit like that, they're like, well, hey, this arm is still viable. We can save it. You want to use it? And the other doctor's like, nah, we'll just make him all machine. And so they tossed the arm. This shows that they at least kept as much human of him as possible, which is actually kind of cool because, ultimately it makes him feel more human and gives him more character, I think. But I don't know. What do you think? Have you seen the original? Do you think it's better for him to be all machine? Or does the hand fit? I think it's a nice little touch. Let's get on with the movie. On testing, they find out Robocop runs slower than their machines. So they make some altercations, talk about upgrades, but ultimately, they just paint him black. With the last-minute altercations, Alex Murphy / Robocop performs outstandingly in the final test. Okay, so here is already where people got poopy too. So the original Robocop, right? In the 80s, they thought robots in the future, even robots in general, wouldn't be so acrobatic. Like, this dude's moving fast as fuck, and people are like, that's not how a robot would move. Then again, how would you know how a robot would move? But regardless, people were really poopy about that. They thought it was just too fast-paced, and they did. A lot of people hated that he was painted black. Once again, you don't mess with a reboot, or with original with a reboot. You don't fuck with it. But like in the beginning, when he's first Robocop, he is blue, and he's like a similar type, slimmer design of the original. And also, when they talk about upgrades in that scene, you see the original Robocop design, and they call it combat mode. But at first, it's like, oh, that's cool. It's a little nod at the original. But ultimately, they painted him black and gave him a red laser on the visor. I mean, I don't know what the fuck that is. It looks kind of cool. I mean, if it wasn't a reboot and it was its own thing, like original idea, it'd be lit as fuck. But it's a reboot. You don't fuck with the original. Another reason why this movie failed, pretty much. What do you think? You think the black and red laser is cool, or red visor is cool? I mean, I think it's cool, but you think it was a good move? Let's get on with the movie.
Alex Murphy is uploaded with all DPD files. He comes across his own murder file, which shuts him down. They realize that he is too human, so they must make some more corrections. After these corrections, he is presented to the public, and he immediately starts identifying criminals that have been hiding in plain sight. He is an instant success.
So in the beginning of that sequence, you see Dr. Dennett Norton, played by Gary Oldman, Oscar nominee. Actually, Oscar winner. Oscar winner, yeah. So he was originally casted, or supposed to be casted, by Edward Norton. And I think they only did that just because the character's last name is Norton. But that probably wouldn't have been a good fit because Gary Oldman's fantastic. But even with all the acting power they had 1 Oscar winner and 3 Oscar nominees. Fucking him, Samuel Jackson, Michael Keaton, and Jackie Earle Haley. And this movie still failed? That makes no fucking sense. Anyways, so in the original, when Robocop sees his death, he overwrites the programming and breaks free and then instantly goes to solve his death. Obviously, that didn't happen here. They made him even less human, and he just became the perfect police officer. I mean, I guess that's a good touch because how they played out this movie a little bit more, a little bit of a change, but I don't know. What did you think?
Murphy's wife Clara confronts him, telling him that he needs to stop this to come home and be with his family. After this, he decides to go home, where he reconstructs the moment of his murder. Upon this, he decides to go and solve his own murder. He goes to the hideout of the man who assassinated him, starts eliminating suspects one by one, until he finally confronts his killer. After succeeding, He discovers that the DPD chief was involved in it the entire time and is the cause of what happened to him. While trying to get a confession, the OCP shuts him down.
Okay, so one little fact is that in the original, his wife's name was Ellen, not Clara. But what's the importance of that, right? I know some people probably picked that out and bitched about it, but whatever. I don't give a fuck what her name is. She doesn't play a huge part, does she? Actually, in this movie, she plays a bigger part in this movie than his wife did in the original. Also, when he goes home and reconstructs his murder, that's not how it happens. I mean, no, that's not how it happens. In the original, when he goes home and the house is empty. His wife and kid left because when she went to visit him, she sees that it's not her husband anymore. So they up and leave. So he goes to his old house and it's empty. He opens it up. He's walking through, and he memories start fading in that show his old furniture, his son watching his favorite TV show, blah, 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 all this stuff. Obviously, this didn't happen. Also, in this is what decides for him to solve his own murder. In the original, it's not a database or images or whatever that makes him solve his own murder. He's literally just sleeping and he starts having nightmares about his murder. And he instantly wakes up, unplugs himself, and then just heads out to the police department, knocking anyone in his way and not giving a fuck and just going after all the people that killed him. I like that better because it's just more of a emotional vengeance story. And this is just kind of whack, I think. I don't know. What do you think? What? You think it's better? You think they should have just left it how it was? I don't know. Let's get on with the movie. Let's finish it up.
Although a hit with the public, OCP finds Murphy's actions as a risk to them and the company. They send a team to assassinate Murphy.
Okay, so if you've seen the movie, you know how it plays out from here and you know how it ends. If you haven't seen the movie, you can maybe guess how it ends, but you can't really guess how it plays out. So, given that, if you've seen the movie, please drop in the comments what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, and your favorite scene. If you haven't seen the movie, go watch it. Now, mind you, if you've never seen the original Robocops, you will most likely like this movie. If you have seen the original Robocops, but you haven't seen this, you'll probably tear it apart. But regardless, if you haven't seen it, go watch it, come back, tell me what you liked about it, didn't like about it, and your favorite scene. This movie had so much potential, so much, with freaking Oscar winner Gary Oldman and Oscar nominees Michael Keaton, Samuel Jackson, and Jack Hurley. Dude, it had so much potential with all that acting power. Damn. And especially if they would have gotten someone else to play Robocop, especially how I mentioned earlier, Michael Fassbender. He's a great actor. Freaking fantastic. Dude, it might have helped it out a lot. Sorry to the other dude. But anyways, also, there were a lot of creative issues with it. Whatever the writers came up with, they told reporters that they had, if they came to the producer with 10 good ideas, he would, throw away 9 of them and keep 1. So, I mean, what about those other 9 good ideas? I mean, they probably would have helped, maybe. Just a little bit. I mean, that's the writer's job, but who knows? This, I would have liked to see where this led off, if they could have made more sequels, but unfortunately, it wasn't that impressive of a hit in the opening weekend, so they decided to shut it down. But, given this, I would definitely probably, I'd probably give Robocop 2014 a 5.5 out of 10. Just because I'm comparing it to the original. Okay, how about that? That's what I give it because I'm comparing it to the original. But if the original never existed, I'd probably give this a solid 7. Solid 7 out of 10. So keep that in mind. But yeah, they could have done so much more. I mean, it's RoboCop, man. It's a classic 80s icon. They just could have done so much more. But yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm probably going to go with the original trilogy of RoboCop because I've gotten some requests, but those requests, I don't have them, and I'm not about to watch a movie if I don't have it because I'm a little stickler about that. So I ordered them off of Amazon, and I'm waiting for them to come in the mail. They should be in Saturday or tomorrow. So if you have a request of a movie that you would like me to review, drop it in the comments, and I will do that. and if even if it's something I haven't seen, especially if it's something I haven't seen, I would love to do that, which there's not much. But if you like this, you stuck with me the whole time, please give it a like, share amongst your friends. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. Could use the support, and I'd appreciate it. I'm up to like 130 some odd subscribers right now. I feel so blessed that I'm getting subscribers so fast. It's crazy. But yeah, so until next time, see you then.